My children, gather close and listen well, for there are stories that cling to the shadows. Tales whispered on the wind that you must never, ever ignore, especially when you hear the laughter of things unseen. This is the story of Wambui and her young son, Musa. They had just moved into a small, quiet house on the edge of the village, a place that seemed peaceful enough. But from the very first night, strange things began to happen. Wambui would be cooking, and she'd hear a faint giggle from Musa's empty room. She'd check, of course, but he'd be fast asleep, his chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm. The second night, the laughter was louder, closer, as if someone was playing just beside her ear. Musa started having nightmares, waking up in a cold sweat, talking about a boy who wanted to play a game of hide-and-seek under his bed. By the third night, Wambui's own spirit had grown restless. Fear, cold and sharp, had settled in her heart. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were not alone in that little house. She remembered a story her grandmother used to tell her, a way to track the things that walk in the dark. So, she took a handful of soft, gray ashes from the cooking fire. As Musa slipped, she carefully sprinkled a perfect circle of ashes all around his bed. Her grandmother said it would reveal the footprints of any spirit that dared to cross it. That night, the house was silent. The unsettling laughter was gone. Wambui thought, perhaps it had worked. The boy slept peacefully, or so she believed. But when the first light of dawn streamed through the window, a scream caught in her throat. She rushed to Musa's bedside and saw it. 2 sets of footprints were pressed into the ash. One set was small and clearly human, the prints of her son's little feet from when he got into bed. But the other set was horrifying. Te were bare, like a child's, but the prints were blackened, charred, as if they had been burned by an invisible flame. They led from under the bed, circled Musa as he slept, and then disappeared back into the darkness beneath, her heart hammering against her ribs. Wambui wrapped Musa in a blanket and ran. She went straight to the village elder, Nzigathango. A man whose eyes held the wisdom of generations. She told him everything: the laughter, the nightmares, the scorched footprints in the ash. Nzigathango listened, his face growing grimmer with every word. He frowned deeply, his brow furrowed with a terrible knowledge. That house, he said slowly, his voice a low rumble. That house was built on a cursed ground. It stands on the ashes of an orphanage that burned down in 1963. A chill, colder than any night wind, ran down Wambui, the spine. It was a terrible fire, the elder continued. Many souls were lost. They said all the children's spirits eventually crossed over, all except one. One boy's spirit refused to leave. He was too angry, too lonely. They say he hides beneath the beds of living children, jealous of the life he lost, jealous of the warmth and the laughter he can never have again. Nzigathango went into his hut and returned with a small, round gourd filled with water. This is blessed water, he explained, pressing it into Wambui's trembling hands. Go back before sunset. Sprinkle this water under your son's bed. If the spirit is there, it will be thirsty. If it drinks, it will be forced to show itself to you. Wambui returned home, the heavy gourd feeling like a stone in her hands. She waited, watching the sun dip below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and red, like the embers of a dying fire. As the last sliver of light faded, she took a deep breath and crept into Musa's room. With a shaking hand, she uncorked the gourd and poured the blessed water onto the packed earth floor, directly beneath the bed. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the ground hissed. It sizzled like water on a hot skillet. A foul smell, like rotting milk and old smoke, filled the room, so thick it made her gag. In his sleep, Musa stirred. He began to whisper, his voice small and terrified. He's angry, the boy mumbled. You made him angry, and then complete silence. The hissing stopped. The smell faded. The air grew heavy, expectant. Wambui's blood ran cold. Was it gone, or was it waiting? She had to know. Forcing her body to move, she knelt down, her knees pressing into the floor. Slowly, cautiously, She peered into the deep darkness beneath the bed. And there, my children, two pale, luminous eyes, stared back at her from the shadows. But the face that held them, the face had no skin, no lips, no nose, no breath. It was nothing but a void, a boy's shadow given form, crawling closer, its mouth stretching into a ghastly, silent grin through a face that wasn't even there. Thank you for listening to my story. If you enjoyed this tale, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories from the shadows. Stay safe and always check under your bed.